The non-con slate is essentially done. So who's our non-con All-Americans?
You are Locked On College Basketball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Happy Friday. Welcome into the Locked On College Basketball Podcast, the only daily national college hoop show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your college basketball content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you so much for making us your first listen or watch of the day. And I want to remind you, you can catch every episode ad-free on Amazon Music. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I want to give a special shout out to the everydayers who are joining us and all the great Locked On College Basketball Discord members. You guys, let's get right into it. Coming up on the show today, kind of a fun couple segments, and then we'll do a little bit of preview for the weekend. I was thinking, essentially next week we get into non-conference play and into conference action, and there's no looking back at that point. So I want to give you my first team All-Americans through non-con play, and then I want to give you my all-rookie team, all-freshman team through non-con play as well, and then we'll do our weekend preview after that. And I got to tell you, for both of these things we're about to talk about, the All-Americans and the freshman class, man, it is difficult. It is so difficult. So I'm going to give you mine. I would love to hear where you think I'm wrong, who you would add or change, or whatever you would do with it. I got to start right at the top. This one is a no-brainer for me. It's Auburn's Johni Broome. We just talked about him some on yesterday's show where we were talking about Auburn and how much we like them. Man, Broome coming back is just the dude for Bruce Pearl's Tigers. And what I love and what really sets Broome apart to me is you look at his offensive numbers and they're great, but his defensive numbers are equally elite, not just good, not just strong or solid, elite. Johni Broome doing it on both ends of the court. Let me give you the numbers: 18.5 points a game, 11.5 rebounds a game. That's fifth in the entire nation, not just power conference schools, the entire nation of Division I. 3.3 assists a game, 63.6% from two. That is wild. All of those are career highs for him. Points, rebounds, assists, and a 2-point field goal percentage. Still getting 2.6 blocks a game, slightly down there, but my goodness, over 2.5 blocks a game. That's crazy. It doesn't hurt that Auburn is incredible and that he is the clear MVP of that team. As I said yesterday, so glad that his shoulder injury he had a week or so ago isn't worse than it was, because that could have been, I don't know about devastating, because they do have some nice backcourt options, but I think it would have really, really hamstrung Auburn, which speaks all the more to Johni Broome being not only an obvious choice to be part of this team, but the far and away runaway first choice right now for National Player of the Year. Again, he's first in the Ken Pom National Player of the Year rating right now. He's first in FanDuel's Wooden Award odds right now. It just all makes sense. Give me Johni Broome, first entry on this team. Next person I want to bring in is Kam Jones from Marquette. I don't know about you. I thought Marquette would take not a massive step back. I didn't think they were going to fall to the bottom of the Big East or anything, but certainly a step back from where they've been the last two seasons. And that UConn and then Creighton would be at the top of the Big East. And then you got other teams floating around in there, could St. John's step up? Would Marquette be all right? Well, they've been better than all right. And I think they're the second best team in the Big East. I think St. John's has an argument for that maybe as well. But they have not dropped off big time, even despite losing Tyler Kolek and Oso Ighodaro, amongst others. And yes, there are other players that factor into this, like David Joplin, for example. But a key reason they haven't dropped off is this man, Kam Jones. He is having some sort of year. 20.3 points a game, 4.8 boards, 6.4 assists against just 1.5 turnovers a game. That's crazy to be scoring at that high a level, but also helping at that high level. That kind of stuff is what made Tyler Kolek so special. And now Kam Jones is doing it. He's also getting 1.6 steals a game as well. He's 30 and doing all that while shooting 36.1% from three. And what's interesting to me is that's actually like down for him, which is a good sign. I think there will be regression to the mean, meaning he will crank back up closer to 40 as the season wears on. But I mean, all of that put together, the points, the helpers, the percentage from three, Shaka Smart's team is in good shape, and it's because of Kam Jones. He's my second entrant on this list. Number 3, Cooper Flag, baby, from Duke. Got to get this man on here. What's interesting is, yes, the points per game are very strong, and I feel like that's where most people go for lists like this. Like, who are some of the best scorers in the country? And Cooper Flag is up there, man, 16.3 points per game. But what makes Cooper Flag so special is his ability to affect winning in a multitude of ways. And I don't even like, I hope that what's happening nationally is we're getting away from saying, and he's just 17 years old. And not because I don't want to remember that. I do. But this dude is so special regardless of age. And I don't want to make it to where people are thinking, oh, we're giving Cooper Flag this love because it's cute that he's doing this as a 17-year-old. What he's doing, whether it's box score things or what you actually see him affecting the game, I don't care if he's 17 or 35. This dude just does it. And I know, we've talked about it on this show. Like, there have been a couple flubs in late game moments in losses, but you're going to have that. The fact that he's got the ball in his hands and he's wanting to do it, that tells me something. And I think others, there might be times when people like downgrade Cooper a little bit because he's not the guy that like goes out and gets his own buckets all the times. And I get that. What was it? Oh, that's my backpack sliding down behind me. But man, 16.3 points a game, 8.6 boards, 3.5 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.3 blocks. I would like to see his turnovers come down 2.3 a game. But again, it is his all-around game. It's his ability to do it, like I said, with Johni Broome, offensively and defensively. Cooper Flag is special, man, and it's fun to watch. Last two entrants on our first team All-American non-con edition, and then I'll give you a couple honorable mentions for me as well. Chaz Lanier at Tennessee. Again, we talked about it on yesterday's show. Is he Dalton Connect? No. But man, the things he's doing are so special, even after leveling up, just like Dalton Connect did. 19.3 points a game. Listen to how bonkers this is. 47.4% from three. Do you hear that? Like just shy of 50%. And here's the thing. Some people might do that and it's like, oh yeah, but they're only taking 2.5 threes a game. This dude is taking 7.9 threes a game, Chaz Lanier, and still 47.4%. Crazy stuff. 3.1 boards, 1.5 assists, 1.2 steals, and just 1 turnover a game. I love his game. Again, love how he's, the best player on the number 1 team in the nation. Feel like you got to have him on this list. And man, love to see how Tennessee just continues to hit on these guys. And 5th on my list, it's always hard because it's when you get to the last position on a list, that means everyone else is cut off. And that's hard for me. But my guy right now is Keshawn Gilbert from Iowa State. A couple of things with this. I thought Tamin Lipsey was going to be Iowa State's like best offensive weapon this year. And he's been fine. Momcilovic has been good. But what I love is that Keshawn Gilbert is showing up over and over and over again for Iowa State. And part of it is this Iowa State team that is so known for their defensive capability. This year, it's not that the defense has dropped off. It's just that the offense has taken a massive step forward. And Gilbert himself, 16.5 points a game, 3.2 boards, 5.2 assists, 1.4 steals, and he's shooting 62.4% from 2 as a guard. That's wild. Remember how much I gushed over Johni Broome, what he's doing from 2, 63.6%. Gilbert's right behind him at 62.4. So impressive. And what he's done to help Iowa State transition into a legit offensive team is nothing short of incredible. 3 guys I also want to mention that were in consideration for me. PJ Haggerty at Memphis has really helped Penny's team get up and running. Woo, it's special. Make sure we're going to talk about Memphis here in a little bit, so make sure you catch them on Saturday against Ole Miss. Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida. I loved him last year. He's taken another step forward. Florida is undefeated. Great stuff. Their whole stable of guards is fun to watch. Make sure you check them out. And then Eric Dixon at Villanova. I think if Villanova was better, Eric Dixon would be on my team. But it's just hard to have him on for a middling Villanova team. But he is definitely in the discussion. I would have, if I had done a second and third team, he would have been on one of those undoubtedly. All right. So there you go. There's my non-con first team All-Americans. I want to know who yours would be. Now, what I love seeing the freshman renaissance that we're having this season. So many elite freshmen helping either lead the way or playing critical roles on their teams, including a young man that was just on our All-American list. Who joins Cooper Flag? We'll get to that in just a second. Right after I tell you about Rocket Mortgage and their great service, Rocket Money, which has maybe helped you find some subscriptions you forgot about, or maybe helped you find some that you were paying for twice. Man, that definitely has happened to some people I know. And Rocket Money has been so helpful to help them get rid of subscriptions they didn't even know they were paying for. It helps you track it down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. And that's what Rocket Money is, a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your subscriptions, but also monitors your spending and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, even the goals that you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when they take advantage of all of the premium features that the app has. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions now and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. Again, that's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, we just did our first team All-Americans from the non-conference portion of this season. I want to do the same thing, but with our freshmen. Look, Cooper Flag was on the All-American team, so he's on this one as well. We don't need to reiterate or rehash it, but he is the number one inclusion on this list. But I tell you what, he has got some challengers on this list. And crazy as it sounds, I have two teammates also on this list, numbers 2 and 3. That's going to be Ace Bailey from Rutgers and Dylan Harper from Rutgers. For Bailey, 17.6 points a game, 33% from 3, 7.6 rebounds, and 1 steal a game. It's so funny with Bailey because this dude is a black hole. If he gets the ball, he's shooting it. It's pretty funny. And you know what? Frankly, he probably should because he's really great and he's probably better than you. But his teammate, Dylan Harper, listen to what this dude is doing. 23.3 points a game. That's 4th in the nation. Not just power conference teams, not for freshmen. 4th in the nation amongst anybody. 4.8 rebounds a game. 4.2 assists a game. 1 steal a game. And he's shooting 35% from 3. Both of these guys are so high usage, but they've stepped in and they've done a job for Rutgers, who's, they're fine. Rutgers is fine. But man, Bailey and Harper, appointment viewing for me. If you've not seen them, make sure you check it out. The other two on my list, the person I go to next is Trey Johnson at Texas. This dude, 19.9 points a game as of right now, at least leading the SEC in scoring, 2.6 boards, 2.2 assists, 43.3% from 3 on 6.7 attempts per game. That's, slightly behind what we were talking about a little bit ago with Chaz Lanier. Is that who we were talking about with that? Yeah, crazy stuff. And Trey Johnson is in that same neighborhood. Lower percentage, a little bit less attempts from 3 per game. But what he's doing to really pave the way in a lot of ways for Texas has been really, really impressive for me as a freshman. And the other guy, let's stay in the SEC with the other team that just came to the SEC, is the undefeated Oklahoma Sooners and their stud freshman, Jeremiah Fears, who was, a late addition to this Oklahoma squad. And my goodness, Porter Moser is very happy this Christmas week that he did, because good night. What Jeremiah Fears is doing is so fun. I hope you've seen him play. 18.8 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 2.2 steals. He's shooting 32.6% from 3 and 86.7% from the free throw line, getting there 6.3 times a game. That's what I love about Fears. I feel like so often you see a lot of the freshmen, not everybody, but they'll be a little bit reticent to attack, or maybe they won't get a whistle from the refs. This dude's getting to the line 6.3 times a game, and he's converting 86.7% of the time. I mean, that is some kind of special. I just really, I'd finally watched a full Oklahoma game. I think it was just it was the game where I can't even remember who they beat now. It's not coming to me, but where he got that 4-point play to basically win the game. Gosh, I wish I could remember who that was that sillily fouled him right there at the end. Oh, it was in the Jumpman Invitational. So it was Michigan. Good night. I thought Michigan had that game. Anyway, that is my first team, all freshmen. Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey of Rutgers, Dylan Harper of Rutgers, Trey Johnson of Texas, and Jeremiah Fears of Oklahoma. But man, with the freshmen, I struggled so hard. There were like 10 or more guys, 10 to 15 guys that I legitimately thought about. I'll just rattle off a couple of the others. VJ Edgecombe at Baylor. Man, Liam McNeely from UConn. Kasparis Jakusionis from Illinois is leading Illinois in scoring. I mean, there's a whole host of freshmen. Will Riley and Ivisic, good night. What they're doing is crazy. Tahad Pettiford from Auburn. I just love his game, man. Boogie Fland at Arkansas. Con Knipple at Duke. Kaman Maluach at Duke. Derek Queen at Maryland. I mean, this guy, his footwork is a thing of beauty. I absolutely love it, man. This freshman class has been so fun. And I feel like we just haven't had the depth in freshman classes lately, but I'm eating this up, man. I hope you are too. I hope you've gotten to see a lot of these guys play. If you haven't, man, make sure you take the opportunity to do so. So there you go. We've talked first team All-Americans, non-con edition. We've talked first team freshman, non-con edition. Now I want to get us, ready for this weekend. Similar to this week, there's not actually a ton this weekend, but we do have a couple really, really fun matches, some Mountain West action, all of that we'll talk about in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, the NFL playoffs, they're almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action at FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers, you can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. What I think is great about FanDuel is they've got all these fun ways for you to get a dub. How about some Final Four odds? Teams to make the Final Four, not necessarily win it. Auburn leads the way at +110, followed by Duke at +150, Tennessee +210, Houston +230, Gonzaga +270. If you want to get in on any of that action or anything else, because there's so many fun lines and odds and projections and futures at FanDuel, check it all out at FanDuel.com today, where again, you have a chance to get $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I want to get you ready for the weekend action. As a reminder, there's basically nothing today, literally 2 Division I games, and they're both Division I against a not Division I team. So let's not even bother with that. Also, I'll just go ahead and tell you, Sunday, there's more action, but not really much happening. So anything we're going to talk about is really honed in on Saturday. And the 2 big games are number 14 Gonzaga against number 22 UCLA and number 16 Ole Miss at Memphis in FedEx Forum. Let's unpack both of those, and then I'll get you ready for a couple other things to watch out for as well. Gonzaga UCLA, 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox in Inglewood, California at the Intuit Dome, the Clippers' new arena. This is part of the West Coast Hoops Showdown. Ken Palm has it, Zags -2. We don't have the FanDuel line yet. What's cool is there's a second game of this West Coast Hoops Showdown as well, right after Grand Canyon against San Diego, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. What's interesting about this game is both of these teams come in really in need of this victory. For Gonzaga, they come in 9-3, but kind of frustratingly 9-3. I still really, really believe in this Gonzaga team. They obliterated Baylor to start the season. Then they held on against Arizona State, but in their last 5, they've lost 3 of their last 5. They lost to West Virginia in overtime at the Battle for Atlantis, and then beat Indiana and Davidson while they were down there. They lost to UK, to Kentucky in overtime by 1 point. That's a maddening game. You really want to get that one. And then the next Saturday, right after that, lost to UConn by 6 at Madison Square Garden. So you've lost these 3 games, 2 in overtime, and one of them at Madison Square Garden against UConn as they're back, right? Like UConn has clearly got stuff figured out now. All our conversation nationally about UConn's demise, losing those 3 games at Maui, was clearly, UConn's getting things figured out. But and Gonzaga has a 2-game winning streak since those back-to-back losses, but neither of which are notable games. So the thing is, for Gonzaga, this is now their last chance for another marquee non-con win before they basically disappear into West Coast Conference play. And this year, St. Mary's isn't as high level as last year, so they don't have as great an opportunity there. Yes, Oregon State and Washington State come into the West Coast Conference, but they're both rated lower than St. Mary's is. And so Gonzaga, remember last year they had that February game against Kentucky? There's nothing like that now. So you play UCLA, and then it's West Coast Conference the rest of the time. So really, really need to get this one. As for UCLA, this is the second Saturday in a row for them, facing a team desperate for a marquee non-con win in their last marquee non-con opportunity of the season. Last week, it was North Carolina in the CBS Sports Classic. That was a game that UCLA, I can only imagine, has been kicking themselves over all week. They were up, by as many as 16 in the first half of that game. And then North Carolina comes storming back in the second half, which has been like the storyline of their season. The problem is most teams have been able to weather that storm and beat North Carolina. UCLA wasn't. And Mick Cronin, not happy about that at all. And I know the team isn't either. UCLA's only other loss is to New Mexico on a neutral site earlier this year. New Mexico's great. Donovan Dent's a stud. So I'm not worried about that. But outside of that, the problem for UCLA is their only notable wins are at Oregon by 2. That's a great win, and in Big Ten play, so that helps. And then a neutral site win over Arizona team by 3. So really, Oregon is the only one that I look at, and I'm like, man, that's a great win. So UCLA, which we'll dive into Big Ten play here soon. That's got plenty of opportunities, but not like elite opportunities like the SEC or Big 12 would have. Because we don't have there were really strong teams in the Big Ten, but none of them are like, ooh, that team, watch out for them nationally, right? So that's just an interesting dynamic. So both of these teams, one is going to leave this game feeling very good about what they did and how they got it. The other is like, dang, we missed another non-con opportunity and our last marquee non-con opportunity. So that's a struggle. For Gonzaga, I think they need a really big game out of Graham Ike here. For UCLA, I think Tyler Bilodeau is kind of a matchup nightmare for almost anybody he faces. So really interested and excited to see what he can do in this game. I think the matchup, though, I'm most excited about is Ryan Nembhard against Sky Clark. That should be a great guard battle and should be a lot of fun. That could ultimately determine this game. Give me Gonzaga. I think they're the better team. It is a neutral game for both these teams. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see UCLA win it. It's very close to home for them. I think Gonzaga is the better team. We'll see. The other big game of Saturday is number 16, Ole Miss at Memphis, 2 p.m. on ESPN2. KenPom has it Memphis -2. We don't have the FanDuel line yet. For Ole Miss, Chris Beard's team has a great record, 11-1. Their lone loss is to Purdue by 2 on a neutral site. I know Purdue has a few wins, but it's against really high-level teams. That's a great for Ole Miss. But the thing is, they don't have a ton of notable stuff on their resume outside of that. They beat BYU in OT. They beat Louisville in a true road environment. And now they get this second true road environment. I love teams going to true road environments in non-con play to get ready for conference play. And so Ole Miss could be looking at, I know Memphis isn't ranked anymore. They're a strong team, been playing well. Computer numbers don't love them, but I think it's a win that would have legs for Ole Miss. And obviously they're going to get a bundle of opportunities in SEC play to prove that they are a really strong team. Because I just feel like strength of schedule wise, we don't know a ton about Ole Miss right now. I would love to see where is Ole Miss's. Let's look in real time here. What is Ole Miss's non-con strength of schedule? Because I don't think it's going to be very high. Mississippi, where are you at? There we go. 325th in the nation is Ole Miss's non-con strength of schedule. So, that's what I'm saying. Just not much on it. They got to get a win like this. For Memphis, they're 9-3. Very understandable loss to Auburn in Maui. Lost to Mississippi State at home last Saturday by 13. You want to win at home, but Mississippi State's strong. It's a good win for the Bulldogs. The problem is Memphis's other loss is a home loss to Arkansas State. And now you've got to do everything you can the rest of the season to offset that. The AAC is not a great conference this year, so they've got possibilities there. But you cannot lose back-to-back Saturdays in a row to the two Mississippi teams in the SEC. So got to get this win if you're Penny Hardaway's club. You need PJ Haggerty to just go off, and a lot of the rest of the team as well. But I feel like Memphis is in more dire straits here. Not dire straits, but is in need of this win more so than Ole Miss is. Because, again, Ole Miss has a bunch of opportunities in SEC, whereas there's just not a ton of that in the AAC this year. The battle could be determined. This game could be determined by turnovers. Memphis, 20% turnover percentage. That's 302nd in the nation. And a ton of them are self-inflicted. 9.3% non-steal turnovers, meaning unforced errors. That's 320th in the nation. Ole Miss, on the other hand, is doing a great job taking care of the ball. Just a 12.8 turnover percentage, which is first in the nation. They are the best team in the nation in turnover percentage. And when they do turn it over, it's not self-inflicted, just 5.1% non-steal turnovers, which is sixth in the nation. So watch out for who holds on to the ball best, and can Memphis take care of it? That could determine it. Quickly, a couple other games. Saturday, we've got a 5-game Mountain West Conference slate, most of which is on Mountain West Network. Everyone in the Mountain West but UNLV has played one game. We've got 11 Mountain West teams, and so this is like the second round of Mountain West games. New Mexico at Colorado State, 3 p.m. Eastern. Ken Pom has it Rams -1. Nevada at Wyoming, 4 Eastern. Ken Pom has it Wolfpack -6. Boise State at San Jose State, 5 p.m. Eastern. Boise State -8. The game I'm most interested in from the schedule, Utah State, who's playing great, just finally took their first loss recently, at 20 San Diego State, 6 p.m. on Fox. You can catch that on national TV. Aztecs -5. This game is actually following the Gonzaga UCLA game, so just stay locked in on Fox all Saturday. And then the final Mountain West game, Fresno State at UNLV, 10 p.m. Eastern. Ken Pom has it UNLV -14. Final two games I want to mention to you. I love that this is happening. I feel like I maybe mentioned it earlier in the week, but the CBS Sports Classic has always just been Ohio State, Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA. This year, they've added in the HBCU Classic as well. It's the Saturday after. This year, it's not all in one building, kind of spread out, but we get NC Central at North Carolina or against North Carolina A&T. That's 2 p.m. Eastern on CBS and Paramount Plus. Following that on CBS as well is Howard and Hampton. I just think this is a cool thing for CBS to do. Well played, CBS. Proud of you. Thank you. Sunday, again, not much action there. So, folks, hope it's a great weekend for you again. Andy and I'll be right back with you Monday to unpack it all and look ahead as well. I think we get some conference action starting on Monday from several conference. I'm trying to even remember who it is. Maybe Big Ten or SC. I can't remember, but we're going to get some, and it's going to be great. If you haven't subscribed to the show on video and audio, make sure you do that so you don't miss a second of Locked On College Basketball. It's so easy. Just subscribe right there on YouTube if you're watching. If you've not joined the Locked On College Basketball Discord community, man, we'd love to have you. It's a great place to chat with other people that love this sport. Free to join. The link is in the show notes. As always, apologies to the Lawyer family. Let's go Wildcats. And until Monday, peace.